We are talking about using GEMDAs to solve inequalities, and we want to solve inequalities by inverse operations, including addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. We want to be able to solve inequalities involving more than one step. So we will use GEMDAs to get down to our final answer, but then we have to understand what these inequalities mean so we can represent our answer in the correct fashion. So if we have an equal sign, we've seen this a lot. It's two lines right next to each other. That means equal. If we're going to plot this on a graph or on a number line, we'd use a closed dot. If we're going to graph this on a number line or on a Cartesian coordinates, we'd use a solid line to show that those are the points that are included in the set. For interval notation, we would use brackets to show that these numbers were included and all the numbers in between. Greater than or equal to, we have the bigger sign on the left. So this is greater than or equal to this because this is the smaller side. And the equal sign is the line underneath. So anytime we have the line underneath, so in this case, we have the equal sign or the line underneath the inequality, that's going to be represented by a closed dot. So less than or equal to is also going to be represented with a closed dot. And if we're talking about interval notation, these will always be used with brackets. So anytime we have the equal sign underneath and we're talking about interval notation, we'll use brackets. If we're graphing anything that's equal to, it's always going to be a solid line. Now the change happens if we're talking about greater than. This does not have that equal to on the end. So this just says numbers greater than. So greater than means that we have an open dot at that location, and we would represent a line on a Cartesian coordinates with a dotted line. And the parentheses means that those points are not included on the very outside of that set. However, every number in between is included. So greater than and less than go together as far as the symbols that represent them when we're talking about boundary points and boundary lines, and when we're referring to the endpoint. And then not equal to would be represented by an open dot.